Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to our bubble. My name is Katie, and I really appreciate you being here with me today. Today, we are doing meal prep that I would normally do on a Sunday. I just really didn't have time. So we are going to be starting with our bread that I make every week to make my husband sandwiches. We are also going to be out on the Blackstone, and we're going to be making the breakfast hamburgers that I make, and we're going to marinate some chicken to go on the grill as well. And this is also used for lunches. It is cut up for sandwiches and salads for the both of us throughout the week. Something else we're also making is a peach crisp. I found some peaches on sale, and a crisp is the quickest, tastiest way to cook up peaches and apples, and we make crisps all the time. We are also going to be making stuffed peppers for our dinner tonight, so let's get on it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go on and get our dough ready so that it can be rising, because it needs to rise twice before we actually put it in the oven. All right, we need 2 cups of warm water. We're going to need a full tablespoon of our activated yeast. And then we got to feed our yeast. So we're going to, I've been trying to use up this Agave Nectar, and the yeast seems to like it. So we're going to try and use up the rest of that. And that wasn't very much. I'm going to give them a teaspoon of sugar as well. You want around a tablespoon of sweetener. And then we're going to give it a little stir. I like to let my yeast sit for a little bit and multiply. So we're just going to set that to the side real quick while we're cutting up our chicken. I've got 3 chicken breasts here. The pack normally has around 6 chicken breasts in it that I get from my local grocery store. But since today is already Tuesday, I'm just going to do half of the pack, because this will make 6 different lunches for us. I'm going to cut them in half. Something else I really don't care for necessarily is the piece of rib meat. You can get chicken without the little piece of rib meat on it, but it costs more. You pay more per pound, so we're not going to do that. I just cut it off and feed it to the cats, or today we're just going to put it in the garbage. Unfortunately, I cannot feed it to my dog. She is allergic to chicken. Or I would do that. You can also cook it up and feed it to your chickens, which has always seemed so odd to me, but I mean, they're farm animals. Farm animals eat everything. Now, the reason I'm cutting them in half is, well, because they're so large, and they are, I don't know if you all know this, and it's probably not the best, but most chicken you buy is very GMO. They have been genetically modified to grow larger breasts. I have grown meat birds in the past. My husband and I, and they are quite sad. They get to where they grow extremely quickly, and they get to where they literally cannot pick their chests up off the ground, and so it gets kind of bald. These days, store-bought chicken I cut in half. But what we are doing with ours today is I have garlic fermented in honey, and this is from last year, so I'm trying to go through it a little bit. And I've actually used most of the honey out of here. So I'm just going to try and dump the rest of this in here. A couple of tablespoons worth is what we're looking at. Oop. Some garlic fell out. That's fine. We'll just leave it. And then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of parsley. It's about a teaspoon. And then we're going to put a little salt and pepper. Which it's time for a new salt grinder. I'm using pink Himalayan salt in this. I do try to shake my salts up a little bit as far as what kind of salt I'm using. Sometimes I use pink Himalayan. Sometimes I use the Celtic salt. And sometimes I just use regular table salt because of the iodine that's in it. Now, we're just going to take our hands and we're going to mush this all up. Parsley really doesn't do much for the taste. It's just nice visually. So we're going to let this sit in the refrigerator until we're ready for it. We're going to get going on our bread. Our yeast has already grown a little bit, and it's been like, 3 minutes? So we're going to go on and start adding our other ingredients and get it all mixed up. So we need around 6 cups of flour. This will make 2 loaves. Three, 4, 5, 6. We do need some salt, so I'm going to use just regular table salt for my bread. I say regular table salt, but this is sea salt. It is from our local health food store. That was about a tablespoon. I am adding a little more salt than I normally do because I had a piece the other day and I felt like it needed a little more flavor. Oh, I love the smell of bread. It just smells like something good's getting ready to happen. Okay, it looks kind of crummy. So now I'm going to mush it all together and stuff with my hands and kind of knead it at the same time. We are trying to incorporate all of our flour in there. I'm going to add just a smidge more water. Just to help make sure we get all of our flour in there. And that was about a tablespoon of water, about a smidge. Oh yeah, that's good. Sometimes you might have to do that. I may have added a little more than 6 cups the last time. When I made bread last week, I didn't need to add a little more water. It was just fine. So we have a nice bowl, and what we're going to do is we're going to cover this with a damp towel, and we're going to let it rise about an hour. It should double in size. Tell you what, making bread on these super hot and humid days, it's been loving it. It rises like crazy. I'll take it out to our back entrance because we don't cool it, and the bread has been loving it. But today it is cool enough. I have doors and windows open, so we're just going to leave it here on the counter. Now that that is finished, we are going to go on and get our hamburger ready for the grill. I do keep the hamburger in a container in the refrigerator because this is not store-bought hamburger. It's not totally wrapped the best, and they do like to bleed. That's just a little tidbit if you are purchasing part of or your own cow to let your stuff thaw out in the refrigerator. I do keep it in a container to keep down mess and bacteria. Okay, so this is for our breakfast hamburger mixture, and I do spice it pretty heavily. So we're doing a tablespoon of parsley, a heaping teaspoon of garlic salt. Oh, I'm sorry, onion salt. Heaping teaspoon of onion salt. This is fresh basil from last year. Oh, it still smells really nice. And we're going to do a tablespoon of it. We have a teaspoon of minced garlic and a teaspoon of rosemary. No, maybe. Okay. Try to crush the rosemary a little bit. That just helps the texture. And then we have a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes. We're going to smash all this up really well. Try and incorporate all those spices in there that you can. Now, the deal with spicing it heavily is to try and get it to sort of taste like breakfast sausage. I mean, don't get me wrong. This is hamburger. It's not going to taste like pork. I don't care what you put in it. And I used to put tons of sage in it, thinking that would help. And you know what? Really, it didn't. I like this combination a lot better. It did take my husband a couple weeks to get used to eating hamburger for breakfast. We do incorporate sausage every now and then. Like the last 2 mornings, I didn't have our hamburger mixture. So now we are rolling our hamburger into around golf ball size balls. And then we will cook these on the grill with our chicken. So this has given us 13 little balls, and that should get us through the rest of the week as far as my husband and I both for breakfast. We're going to go on and prepare our stuffed peppers, which is what we will be having for dinner tonight. So my peppers have been in the freezer. I actually buy peppers in bulk, and to be honest, I don't do anything to them. I throw them in a bag I throw them in the freezer. We have a nice pepper. We are going to cut our edges off, trying to not get seeds in there that could hurt a tooth. Another way, if you end up getting a lot of seeds down in there, you can just run water in this, and that will help you get your seeds out. Okay, I do need a baking dish. And we're going to go on and turn our oven on 400. Now, get our other package of hamburger. And that's going to the sink. Now, we're going to put some of our pepper ends in there. And then we are going to cut up a little onion as well to throw in there. We will also be putting some rice in our stuffed pepper. Stuffed peppers traditionally get a little bit of rice in them as a filler. But to be honest, a lot of times I use breadcrumbs, or most of the time actually, just because it's easy and I have it. I always have panko batter on the shelf. So a lot of times I will throw panko in there. And that works just as well. I do have some rice because we had salmon and rice for dinner last night. So we're going to go traditional with these. And I'm going to throw a little bit of rice in there. That was 1 slice of onion. We're going to put in some pepper and some salt. Yeah, that's fine. That's about 1/4 of a teaspoon. I think we need any more than that. We're going to need 1 egg, as well as our tomato sauce. Oh, let's not pick things up with the egg. Here, we're going to go on and put that in there since I just cracked it. It's about 1/4 of a cup of rice. Okay, I got too many things going on here. Let's see. Let's clean up just a tad. Then same thing. We're going to mush this all together. We're going to put in our tomato sauce before we mush it all together. So we are doing around 1/4 of a cup of tomato sauce as well. And we're going to squish it all around. Now, one thing I didn't do, is it still open? Aha! We're going to throw some parsley in there. Because why not? All right, that looks pretty good. Now, we're going to stuff our peppers. You want to make sure that your hamburger mixture gets all the way to the bottom. And then leave it domed on top a little bit. We put a little bit in there and then we're smushing it down into the little grooves. I am making 4 stuffed peppers, even though it's just my husband and I. We will just eat 1 a piece. But these are also something else that make a great leftover lunch. It's high in protein, low in carbs. You do have some carbs with your rice now, and the onions. And then we have enough for, I usually just kind of make like a little small hamburger or little tiny meatloaf. And I put it to the side of the peppers. Okay. And then we're going to take our tomato sauce and we're going to add a little to the top. Into the top of our tiny meatloaf. Fabulous. We're going to move these. Oh, much better. Much better. And we'll just leave our little meatloaf on here because we've already dirtied it. And there's our oven. We're going to go on and throw these in the oven. I'm going to clean up our cutting board and then we're going to get our peach crisp going. So we're going to start with around 4, or I even have a 5th peach if I choose. But what we need to do is we're going to cut them in half and then we're going to take the skins off of them. Which the skin generally, it just peels right off. Just handy. We're just going to kind of cut it in pieces. Throw it in our container. These are so juicy. I'll tell you what, doing all this cooking, I realized I didn't eat any breakfast. Woo! These are really good. They were ready to be used anyway. They're starting to get a little soft. That's a good peach right there. Peaches are good for you, of course, because they're fruit. So that means they are high in antioxidants and fiber. One thing that I've been trying to do is get more fiber in my husband and I's diet. Fiber is super important. It's not just for gut health. Fiber helps everything work better. So fruit is an excellent way of getting in a little extra fiber. I've never been a really big fruit eater, so I'm trying to do better. Uh-oh, this one's too juicy to twist off. Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to have to do this a different way. Peaches are also high in beta carotene, which you can tell by the color. It's kind of orange, like a carrot, right? So we know that beta carotene is really good for your vision. It is also good for your skin. And I have said in other videos, a lot of times fruit and vegetables that you eat kind of resemble parts of the body that they help. So just like our skin is kind of fuzzy, so's the peach. So that would explain to me why it's good for your skin, because it feels like a baby's bottom. Okay, I think 4 peaches is going to be plenty. This will be a nice, healthier dessert for my husband and I for the next couple of nights. I say healthier because, well, you've got the peach, but we are going to throw a bunch of sugar in it. And then this evening, I'm sure we will be eating some of it with a little vanilla ice cream. This is just, I think, a great summertime treat. You know what? It's great for any time, because this is good in the winter too, all warmed up. Good luck finding peaches, at least in Kentucky. But and if you do, you're going to pay a fortune for them. But like I said, this can be done exactly the same way with apples. So come fall, an apple crisp sounds really good. Now that our peaches are ready to go, it's time to assemble. So we're going to add about a 1/4 cup of sugar, just regular white sugar. And then we're going to add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. So we're going to do about a 1/4 cup of that. Then we're going to do a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Yeah. And we're going to stir this around so that everybody's nice and coated. Now we're going to get a little bowl. And we're going to throw a 1/2 cup of regular, like rolled thick oats. You know what? Let's do a cup. A 1/2 cup does not look like enough. We're going to do a cup. And then we're doing about a 1/4 cup of sugar. And another 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. And then we need around a half a stick of butter. Now, this butter I had let sit out for something else and did not use it. So you do want your butter to be kind of soft. And this was around a stick. So I'm going to use half of that. Almost rubbed. We need a tablespoon of flour. And then we're going to mush all this together with our hands, trying to mush all that butter in. What we're doing is we're making a strudel for the top. Oh, yeah. Okay. And we're going to sprinkle this on top. We're going to throw this in the oven with our stuffed peppers, and it's going to cook around 20-25 minutes. Or until it is your desired brownness on top. So we're going to head out now, and we're going to turn on our Blackstone and get our breakfast burgers and our chicken going. While our griddle is heating up real quick, we need to go in and we need to stretch and knead our bread and put it in our loaf pans. That looks great. Let's see if we can, no, let me get a little bit of water. The little bit of water will help keep the dough from sticking to me. Try to make these loafy looking. It's not going to be great big because we're going to let it rise again. Ta-da! Now, we're going to put it back on our counter. We are going to put our moist towel back on it, though, just in case, since I've got doors and windows open. I don't need some rogue fly landing on my bread. Okay, now we're going to go out and cook our breakfast burgers. One thing we are going to do is we're going to coat the grill with some tallow. I keep it in this container in a block. And it's hot. I'm going to turn our heat down a bit. Now, I only have 2 burners going. I do not have all 4 going. I thought while we were out here, we have a chicken that has taken up in a more comfortable area to lay her egg. Well, she left me an egg. You coming in? Well, come on. Ooh, that plate's hot. Are you coming in too? No? Okay. Our bread has risen quite nicely. Our stuffed peppers and our crisp is finished, so we're going to pull them out of the oven, and then our bread needs to go in for around 20 minutes. So our stuffed peppers look really good. And then our crisp looks awesome. So as of right now, we're just waiting on our bread. Got a little dollop of ice cream. You can't hardly see it, but this is actually for us to eat tonight. This is one of the best ways to eat fruit. I want to thank you guys for cooking with me again today. Give me a like if you enjoy what you saw. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And I hope to see you guys on the next one. Bye.